look at all that money, yeah, the money that they've spent. Take another look and take some time for him. Don't cut trees for paper, 'cause it hurts the environment. Stop deforestation, yeah, it's time for hemp. Well, an acre of hemp makes 20 barrels of oil. No need for pesticides to poison all our soil. People got no food, they got no clothes, they got no rent. Well, it's time for hemp.
Yes, it is time for hemp. Thank you for tuning in to the big broadcast, and I want you to share us with your friends. That is how we are found, and when we are found, people learn how important it is to take time for hemp. You know, this plant makes over 50,000 different products. This plant is great for medications. This plant is great for a lot of wonderful creature comforts, but this plant is still not legal all around the world, and that's why we are here today on the big broadcast, and we are raising our voice, and I'm not raising my voice alone. Before I say this, don't forget, anytime you hear the word joint on the big broadcast, you hit your pipes, your bongos, your vaporizers, and take time for hemp. And speaking of joints, I have a groovy joint host that wrote a groovy book called, check it out, For Country and Cannabis. And his name is Byrne, and he's here in the United States, in the sunny state of Florida. And he's down there enjoying the sun and boating around and doing fishing and just smoking out cannabis in his sunny backyard. Ain't that right, Al?
That's all I do. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not a bad life. Thank you. I did write that book. It's 360 pages long. It's full of information about the cannabis plant. And contrary to what Casper said about not being legal around the world, it really kind of is now. There's about 30 countries in the world that now have cannabis in their medical pharmacopoeia, meaning that their medical personnel can learn from it and use it as part of a real medical protocol. And then there's a lot of other places which have legal cannabis, one of which is Canada. And our guest today, I'm not going there just yet, but our guest today is in Canada. So the book For Country and Cannabis, it deals with the United States. And it's a 40-year saga of how medical cannabis came to be in the United States, in Canada, indeed around the world. How'd that happen? It just didn't happen. It took a long time, still not over. But that's what the book's about. If you're a medical professional, if you're a patient, if you care for people that are sick, I highly recommend you read this book. You'll like it. I know I wrote it, and I'm biased, but my feedback from everybody is that, hey, Al, that was cool. Thank you for writing it. So with that, I got a joint host. His name is Al as well, and he is we call him the token. That's a pun. Token Canadian. Al Graham, you out there? Yeah, there he is.
Hi guys, how you doing?
Are you high in Canada, or is Canada high with you?
Oh, I think we're high in Canada. That's what I'm going to say.
And you got a groovy little radio network that you work to raise the voice of the cannabis movement up there, don't you?
Yeah, people advocating cannabis education. We talk about cannabis as well as psychedelics. And we have programming 7 days a week, everything from news to interviews with patients and business owners.
And you have brought with you an amazing guest who's kind of normal to hang out with. And apparently she's just your normal pot smoker. Oh, I said pot, cannabis smoker. And apparently she's also a normal business entrepreneur that you want to introduce us to.
Yes, exactly. Our guest today is someone I've known for many years. She's a Canadian cannabis business owner with multiple cannabis retail stores. She's also an executive director at a Canadian cannabis advocacy organization. So no use me telling you about it. Let's just bring her into the show. I'd like to welcome Jennawae Cavion to the Time for Hemp broadcast. G'day, Jennawae. How you doing?
How are you?
Good, good.
Thank
And
you
how
for
are
joining us.
Thanks
Great.
for joining us. Now,
So I'll let Al lead the discussion because he knows all about you and your background.
Sure.
all right, I'm just gonna get everybody in position here, and there we go. Jennawae, I guess the best way to get this started is for you to, I can tell, like as I said, I can tell people all about you, but it's always better to hear it right directly from yourself. So tell us a
Sure.
bit about you and how you got started in the cannabis industry.
Oh, well, me and my husband, Lorenzo, opened up a head shop and seed bank here in Kingston, Ontario, where we're located back in 2010. It was called 420 Kingston. And from that point forward, basically, it's just by nature of being in that business and, selling seeds and doing this and that, you become an advocate pretty early on, especially during the era that was. We had a conservative government where, cannabis growers were getting more time in jail than pedophiles. So we had to really advocate to make some change. So we became really involved really quickly. We were a seed bank. And we also had a vapor lounge as well. But, we sort of had to roll with legislative punches. In 2016, the Smoking Act that we have here was amended to include cannabis. So we weren't able to keep our lounge anymore. And then in 2017, we were raided by the federal government for allegedly importing seeds. And so we had to stop selling seeds. And then the following week, the Cannabis Act was announced because by this point, it had already been decided that cannabis would be legalized, but we just didn't really know how it was going to look from province to province and whether we'd be allowed to sell cannabis or, there's a really archaic system, or there was a really archaic system for alcohol. Especially in Ontario where we are, where the government is the only seller. So we expected it would be something like that. And for a while it was going to be that way. And luckily the tides changed in our favor and we were able to finally open up cannabis stores that are independently owned. There was some silly stuff that happened, especially in Ontario. There was like a lottery system because they weren't ready. So we're 2-time lottery losers, but finally, once they opened it up to everybody, we were able to get our licensing. So we were the third store in Kingston and the first non-lottery winner in Kingston to be able to open.
All right, now I need to jump in here for a minute because you've opened up like a lot of questions. Like one, for a lottery system, I know that in the United States that can be prohibitive because that means you put money down. And whether you get a license or not, you don't get the money back. So the government just keeps that. So that means it's like you risk X amount of dollars. And if you got it to lose, you lose. That's one. Then the other is I've known a few people up there that you may know. That I think there's like a Mark Emery and a couple of other people who have dealt with seeds and the things that you were doing. And they had like police putting them in jail and handcuffs and hauling them before court, that I didn't hear a word about you dealing with any of that. So like, are you like blessed? Are you an angel? Are you gifted? What's the deal here?
I'm all of the above, but most importantly, I think we were just like, we never shipped seeds outside of Canada. So I think that was the major distinction between me and Mark Emery. He was shipping everywhere. And that's what we learned from his case. In fact, we're like, okay, well, if we can just keep a lid on it in Canada, no problem. So ultimately, we were charged with possession for the purpose of trafficking. We were hosting a cannabis competition. And when the police raided us, it was the last day of the submission. So growers were showing up mid-raid, trying to drop off their samples. And, they're all zigzagging out of town because they're afraid the cops are following them. It's like, don't worry, guys, they're just here for me. So my husband and I did go to jail. We did serve 4 hours of hard time. And then they let us go after they realized like all they're going to get from us is seeds. We didn't, they were looking for weapons. They were looking for hard drugs or other stuff. But really what they got was, a bunch of marketing material and seeds and, our own personal cannabis, that sort of thing.
Now
and of course the entries.
That's another question too. I know that my two joint hosts have a handful of questions as well, but our audience might not be exactly acquainted with what a seed bank is. And if you're still doing a seed bank, does that mean I walk in and I deposit 200 seeds and then next week I come out and withdraw 500?
That's funny.
And I want a loan. I want a loan of 2,000 seeds. Right?
So it was, so basically what a seed bank is, and well, what it was a place that people could buy seeds from. So we were storing, especially European genetics. We had a lot of experience with Dutch and Spanish breeders. And so we were allegedly importing those from European countries and making those partnerships. So brands you would be familiar with, and technically like DNA Genetics, Dutch Passion, Cannabia, Greenhouse, a lot of the sort of commercialized coffee shop companies, those were who we were dealing with and reselling. So ordinarily in an unregulated market, people would be buying seeds from an online source, but we were selling them in person and online. And now we are still selling seeds, but because the seeds have to be regulated and produced by a Canadian producer, it's the seed sales are like 0.6% of our total sales at this point. It's a real shame, actually.
Wow.
Legalization brought death of the grower and death of the head shop.
Jen, wait a minute, Casper. Let me have a turn. Come on. He's wired today. We talked to him about this before the show about how he is. But, Jen, I want to, you just sort of created yourself in 2010. All of a sudden, you're in cannabis. I want to know how you got there. You didn't just show up one day. How did that?
It's a funny story. I used to work for telecom companies. So you might be familiar with BlackBerry. That's a Canadian company. I have a patent with them for like a voice to text thing, and my job was like an intraday thing. And then I met my now husband at a Bell subsidiary, which is a telephone company subsidiary anyways. But we both hated our jobs and got fired within months of each other. And so the day that I was fired, I went over to his house. He was already fired a few weeks before. And I was like, because like really the thing that we bonded over the most was cannabis. So we're trying to figure out what our next step is. And through tears, I'm like, do you just want to go to Kingston and open up a head shop? And he was like, with nothing better to do.
This is a cannabis love story.
Yes, it's a cannabis love story. So then we moved back to my hometown from Kitchener-Waterloo area, and we opened up a store, and then really decided what our niche was seeds, because we just have an aptitude for it, and that was basically it, and the rest is history. And we my husband is the tether and I'm the balloon, so there's a lot of big pie in the sky ideas, but he's there to ground me when we can. But it's a good balance.
Yeah.
And then I got another question. I forewarned you of this. But you had an experience, or still do, with Canadian Normal, meaning NORML.
Yes.
National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws.
Yes.
And from 88 to 94, I was intricately involved in running National Normal here in the U.S.
Wow.
So tell me, how did you get this Canadian? Did you found the Canadian normal, or was it there and you came? How did that all go?
So the Canadian normal's even older than I am. It was established in 1978 in I think Toronto. I want to say maybe BC, but it was established. I became involved first with normal. Probably during the Harper era, just doing whatever I could to support the initiatives. But I joined the board while I was waiting for my licensing in, I want to say 2018, something like that, or 2019. And I became, at that point, because I was, one of the examples of somebody who was transitioning from unregulated to regulated sale. My main role was trying to encourage others to do the same, to take the legal leap and to show that it can be done. And then the opportunity came up for me to become, I was nominated by my peers to become the executive director in 2021 after our stores were named the top sales in Eastern Ontario. So we did really well. Yeah. And so it's a real success story, really, of somebody who was slinging seeds to be able to navigate the ridiculous, especially 1.0 rules of cannabis retail. I would have, and adding an extra layer of COVID on top of that was a whole. But I had always said, look, if you're going to give me a license to legally live out my dreams, I will sell cannabis on top of a mountain in the middle of a blizzard. I don't care. So, and a blizzard they gave me with COVID. But luckily we did okay. And here we are.
Well, normal Canada has been successful. I mean, in the sense that Canada has a legalization law where
Yes.
cannabis normal in the United States has not been, never
Yes.
has been, and I believe from the get-go didn't want legalization no matter what they said. And I bring that up in my book, that the lawyers that ran National Normal United States were defense attorneys. How do you make money as a defense attorney? First, you have to have an illegal drug and somebody that uses it, then you make money. So the whole concept of guys making money off of cannabis being illegal, wanting it illegal, never didn't get through to me when I was running the place. And and I think that my hunch, if you will, was correct. And so I went off, as you will find in my book, to initiate the conversation about medical cannabis in the world, and we were successful. And a cohort of mine, and especially of Casper's, a guy named Jack Hare, went off and did what I did with medical cannabis. He did with hemp, and now we have hemp everywhere. So,
Right.
I go back to the normal story. Your group has been successful where the U.S. group was not. I'm going to guess and say that the group that got it legalized in Canada was not so much lawyer orientated. Am I right?
So we have a lot of, like, our president Jack is a lawyer, and Kirk Tusaw, who's another constitutional lawyer here in Canada, who's actually American, from Michigan. He's also been heavily involved. John Conroy. So the founding group of Normal in Canada has always been based on personal liberty and adults being able to make their own decisions. And the proof is really in the cases that these guys are taking on, because they're getting cannabis legalized for patients. They're making sure that a case that Kirk is famous for is the Great Gardener case with Matt Byrne, where that was to get designated growers for patients. So quite frankly, a lot of these lawyer activists, as I would call them, have really paved the way for legalization throughout our country. And it's not perfect. Like, it's great that it's federal, and it's great that it's not recognized as a criminal issue. It's treated as a personal issue. It's not even really treated as a health issue so much anymore, unfortunately, for patients. It's because doctors, in the opposite, where you're saying lawyers didn't want anything. My feeling in Canada is that doctors never wanted anything to do with cannabis, and they never wanted to be the gatekeepers. And in our experience in sort of dealing with Health Canada, and a lot of pushback that we've seen has been from doctors to improve improve legalization as we have it, or remove some of the ridiculous guardrails that they've put in place for us. So that's why it's still important, even though we have federal legalization here, to continue with normal in Canada, because we need to sort of tweak those little silly things that need to be addressed. And it's really a matter of understanding the nuance. My focus, of course, is on the business side, because that's my livelihood and that's where I am. But I'm also a patient. I've always had a license for arthritis. So I do see the value of still having a medical program here and pursuing that more. But yeah, the lawyers have been, this is their community work. This is their pro bono work. They do personal liberty. They've been wonderful, honestly. Yeah.
And today we'd like to find out more of the business end of things, being that you are a multiple cannabis retail store owner here in Canada. So why don't you give us a bit of an idea what the process is like for people in order to become an owner?
Well, it's different province by province. So every province has their own nuance. And I truly believe that Ontario is the best place to do business for a retailer, especially an independent retailer. So basically it's changed a little bit. When I first applied, we had to go through a lottery process. We had our store ready and built to specs from Alberta, but we had to sort of just, we didn't know what was going to be coming, and so we just had to do our best. So we just took the harshest rules from other provinces and built our stores out that way. Even our name, so we used to be 420 Kingston, but because we were rated under that name, we had to change from our lawyer's advice, we had to change our name to something that would hopefully be more regulatory or acceptable, but we also didn't know what that would look like. And so we just had the Cannabis Act to go on. So we settled on calyx and trichomes because we figured that if there was anybody that was going to clutch their pearls, they wouldn't even know what a calyx or a trichomes was. So so that's
wait. I don't understand how just changing it does not like you change the name outdoor, but I walk in, I still see pipes and seeds and papers. I don't understand how a name changed that much of an impact.
Well, it was just because 420 Kingston was already associated with criminal activity, allegedly. So they wanted a clean slate, but we still had to be very open about everything in our disclosure to the provincial government. So they already knew who we were. It was more just an extra assurance. So
well, they had you in a prison cell, did they not?
Well, it was.
Oh, come on, tell us the story.
So we were arrested. They took us to jail for our seeds, for allegedly importing our seeds, and we were there for 4 hours, where I was given a quarter pounder from McDonald's, and I had to have a nap. So by the time my nap was over, I was allowed to go home, and that was it. And then I had to go in and out of court for 13 months. And basically what we were originally charged with was possession for the purpose of trafficking. And that was reduced to simple possession. Luckily, we donated to some very worthy charities locally, so the judge would know that we're nice people. And
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Did you donate to the charities that the judge is part of? Is that a bribe?
No. Like it was like community, like our we have a food bank down the road from us. It was the United Way. There was a women's domestic violence shelter. Just ones that we cared about locally. And
one last detail, that you spent 4 hours in a jail and they treated you well.
Yeah.
Did they let your husband out in 4 hours too?
Yep, we left together.
So
they left weed in my purse too, so I could at least have something.
Well, that's only being polite.
Yeah.
I mean,
I love Canadians. You guys are so nice. You guys are so polite. Canadians are just swell
super
people.
Great.
Okay,
honestly,
so
arresting officers later said to us, if you need us to write you a letter of recommendation on your application, we'll do that for you.
Wow.
So they
They
really
arrest
were
you
amazing.
and give you a letter of recommendation.
Well, yeah.
Is this a movie script? What is this?
Some people don't live like you, Casper. They're nice people.
Casper's just surprised that they gave you a letter of recommendation, or they would do that for you. Now, I think that was in order for you to apply for the business. And now, Jennawae, can you tell us a bit more of the process going forward in order to get your license, in order to become a retail store, as well as did your situation with Kingston 420 have any effect on you getting your business license?
So, yes and no. Ultimately, the issue of us being arrested and everything was resolved. Our charges were reduced from possession for the purpose of trafficking to simple possession. And luckily, our federal government introduced a program where if you had a charge for simple possession, it could be dismissed. And so my husband and I were successful in that program. And so our charges were completely dismissed. Luckily. And then as far as the licensing goes, we just had to be very honest about everything that we were doing. It's very similar to like if we were going to open up a bar or something like that, in that we just had to be honest with, they just need to know that we're honest operators. So basically we had to go through the lottery process at the beginning, which was standard for everybody in Ontario while the government got their act together. And finally, when the lotteries, because there was a lot of funny business going on with the lotteries, like one group stuffed the ballot box and got like 13 licenses.
I remember that.
Yeah. So that was when they were like, okay, this isn't going to work. And they opened it up to everybody. And luckily, because we had been ready for 2 years, we were quick to get licensed. And so we basically just have to go through, it's actually 3 licenses. So there's an operator license, there's a retail store authorization. So your physical store, how that looks, making sure that it adheres to the provincial standards.
So they come and do an inspection?
They do several inspections. Yeah. And ongoing, like we can get inspected at any time to make sure that we're upholding those rules. And we probably once a month, we get inspected as a mystery shopper. And then there's also like a manager license so that you have the ability to actually purchase cannabis from the Ontario Cannabis Store. So I hold 3 licenses.
So now, go ahead. What?
I was going to get into, as far as talking about licenses and stuff, your supply wise,
Yes.
you mentioned the OCS, the Ontario Cannabis Store. They're your supplier?
Yes. So the way that it works is, so originally when it was going to be a public sales situation, the OCS was going to be like our LCBO. And when our conservative government took over and changed it to private sale, which benefited us, basically the OCS became the wholesaler. So there's one central distribution center that all of the licensed producers ship their cannabis to. And basically once a week, we have an order window that we're allowed to submit our orders for all of our stores. And we basically just receive once a week as well. So it's not as flexible as a regular business in that way. Like we have to adhere to our timelines, but they are working on it. And I will say in the last 5 years, it's you know, the first year we were ordering from a spreadsheet, and now we're ordering from a website. And, you know, the first year it was like almost no categories available. There was like no cannabis on the market. You had very little choice, very little option. Now in Ontario, we are spoiled for choice. There's a ton of stuff. It's literally, my catalog has over 4,000 things in it, and that's just the stuff that we've brought in. There's lots of stuff that we've never brought in, you know. So there's a lot.
That's one thing I want to jump into, because I remember a friend was going up to Illinois. They said he picked me up some herb from one of the dispensaries. So I called up there to get a price of what they had, and it turned out that had that happened, it would have cost me a whole lot more to get it to the dispensary than to get it on the black market. So
yes.
Your competition is not just other dispensaries.
No.
Your competition is the black market, and the black market can really undercut your prices. How do you deal with all of that?
So it's so price. Yes, there is definitely, that was definitely an issue at the beginning, but there's been so much compression that now the regulated market actually beats the unregulated market by about $2 a gram,
Right.
Everything considered. So, you know, there are definitely retailers who are charging more, but the sort of MSRP of the market is really on par with the unregulated market. It's sort of some of the other things that the unregulated market is able to do that we aren't, like how they're able to advertise and market their cannabis, how things they can offer to customers that we're not even allowed to do a BOGO deal, for example. Like you can't buy one, get one from us.
No way.
Yeah, like little things like that are just sort of like, that's why we have normal. That's why we need to make these changes.
And as an entrepreneur, you need that, because there are times when you need to move stuff off your shelf to make more room for what's coming in, or because it's getting outdated.
Yeah.
And for you to make your money back, you need to be able to do that.
Oh, we sell at a loss all the time. If there's something that, a big thing that we try to keep an eye on the velocity of specific items, and you can only sort of, the best you can do is base also on what's available. Because like, even if I'm selling through something really fast, it may not be available when I need to go and get it next. So finding like fair market comparables is really important as well. But you know, the main thing is that we are allowed to decide what the price and what the sale price is. So I can, as long as I'm selling it for a penny, then I'm compliant. But if I'm selling it for only a penny, I'm losing a lot of money. So
that can be your buy one, get one free. Buy one, get one for a penny.
I thought I saw a store get charged with charging or selling product less than what they could pay for it or something.
We in Ontario, we can charge anything. There's no limit. I think in other provinces there is a limit, but in Ontario we do have the flexibility to like at least have sales, because they do understand. I mean, even the Ontario Cannabis Store has sales. Just over the summer they had a pre-roll sale, so everybody was either having a pre-roll sale themselves or pocketing the discount. But the main thing is that, you know, so if we go back to the competition aspect, there's very little way for a regulated retailer to be able to differentiate themselves, because we all have the same access to everything all the time. So one way that we do that here in Ontario is through a method called flow through. So we would have products that are available, you know, on a weekly basis. It's like a stock item that they would always have, but then there's flow through products that we can get at a more sporadic rate. So they're sort of like more rare than a regular thing. And those get fulfilled by the licensed producers directly and have more like a 2 or 3 week lead time, which because of that helps us sort of like, because we have it in stock, the guy next door to us might not have it in stock. And there is somebody next door to us. Like that is a thing here. So yeah, I mean, it's you have to get creative with what you're able to do. And really the regular tenets of retail, like location and loyalty and customer service, are still very, very, very important. Where pre-legalization, they weren't. It's either you buy the weed I have or you don't. You know, those are your choices. yeah, customers in Ontario were spoiled.
I would think that having a cannabis dispensary would be like having a donut shop. I mean, everybody would want it. There'd be a long line. You couldn't. There'd be people around the corner trying to get your donuts. And I mean, everybody. I mean, so it's just making money hand over fist, right? Cheaper.
I wish. But Kingston is about 160,000 people, and we have over 20 stores here. So the stores and that's not even including the unregulated market. We've got Indigenous reserves on both sides of Kingston. Like there's one in Brockville, there's one in Belleville, which is just like basically bookending us. So there's definitely like a strong unregulated market here. But people do still shop for convenience. People are still, it's not necessarily as convenient. Even if you're going to save a couple bucks to go somewhere, people are more driven by whatever's closest to their house, luckily. So again, securing those like strong locations is the best bet. But yeah, everybody has the same thing. So it becomes very competitive very quickly.
Can you do deliveries? I mean, that's the big thing now. Call Amazon, have a pound delivered.
Yep, absolutely. So you can't have a pound. You can have 30 grams, which is something that's our next campaign with Normal. We're going to be targeting the 30-gram limit. Yeah. You can have 30 grams and we deliver, I do about 30 deliveries a day, maybe 40 on a busy day. So it's our staff get in the car with, 5 or 10 deliveries with them at a time, and people love seeing our actual staff that are normally in the store on the road, and the staff love getting out on the road. It's listen to their playlist, whatever. Yeah. And it's free delivery within a couple hours, basically.
How big are your stores, square feet?
So we have the 3. And they vary. So our flagship location, our Midland Avenue location, which is across from a Walmart and next to an LCBO, that one is, it's a really great location. That one is 2,800 square feet.
Wow.
We have another one on the military base. And that one, because we have a lot of customers in the military.
You're a dispensary on a military base?
Yes, that was our second.
Wow.
Yep. And that one is 1,800 square feet, I think. And then the third location, which we just opened this last May, is in our countryside, which is it's close to where I live. And the necessity of that was just like, do I have to drive over to the base or do I have to drive over to Walmart right now? Like, I need weed. Where am I going to go? And so I just was like, that's it. I'll open up a store here too. So, and that one's only like 1,500 square feet. It's the smallest of the 3.
So can we go back to the military base?
I knew my question was out now as soon as that came up.
Now, are you able to grow your own herb to sell in your own shop?
Yes, no. Yes. So we can't grow in the store. Well, we can technically grow in the stores as long as it's for educational purposes. You just can't smoke or use cannabis in the store just to be compliant with the Smoke-Free Ontario Act. But otherwise, customers are allowed to grow 4 plants at home.
Yeah. Al had a question.
Military base. I know that military retirees, medical guys in Canadian military can not only use cannabis, but the government actually ships it to them, as I understand, at their home free of charge.
Absolutely.
But this idea of you have a retail store and a dispensary, are military members able to use cannabis legally?
Yes. Yeah. So they are allowed to use it off duty. They just can't be using it on duty. I'm actually at that location right now on the military base, and it might explain why my connection is weird, honestly, because I think that they've got scramblers going all the time. They're allowed to use it when they're not working. I think there has to be like a time between the last time they consumed and their next shift, but I don't know how they would ever prove that. So,
Well, the guys at theater, you're honest until you're not proven honest. So they're just taking their word for it. But I'm surprised to hear that. It's very nice to hear that.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to look into that and see if we can't get a.
Al is always talking about how Canadian military people are fortunate to have access to medical cannabis, and now he knows that they can have them on stores on the bases. That's really
cool. Well, that's I didn't know. I'm glad you learn something when you come to Time for Hemp.
It's so well received too, honestly, and police same rules basically. Police are allowed to use cannabis off duty like it's beer. So I do appreciate that they were at least that they didn't discriminate against.
Yeah.
Professions.
I got to ask another military question. So your military guys come in the store, and do officers come in and buy cannabis as well as enlisted men?
Oh yeah, like they're coming in their uniform.
Officers.
Yep.
They got more money too, so they probably buy a whole lot more.
Yeah, I know. It is. Wow. It is accepted now. Wow.
It's totally fine, and it's there was I was at our countryside location, and a really sharp-looking guy came in with a real cop haircut, but I thought he was an accountant, just based on his vibe. And then as he was leaving, somebody else was there. I was like, that's like Kingston's lead detective. Like he's just like in plain clothes right now. I'm like, oh, well, I'm glad that he likes blue raspberry, because that's it's funny, whenever we've dealt with police officers, they're always like more curious than anything. They're more like they know that we are not the enemy here. So
well, we are down to the end of this segment, and I tell you, it has been a joy to have you on the program. I will let Al Byrne tip his hat and say so long to you first.
Yeah, thank you. As I said the first half, you're a great guest. You're funny. You got great information, and we're happy that you're happy. So again, thanks for coming on, and the people that are listening to you are like us. You taught me 3 or 4 new things here that and that I love the show because I know I don't know everything, and then I bring somebody like you on, and I know I don't know. And so thanks, Jen, and good luck to your business. It sounds like it's off and running, and we want.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
And Al Graham, you want to give a tip to the hat?
Thanks, Jennawae, for coming on the broadcast. We really appreciate it. We're going to have you come back on again. There's more questions. You know how an hour or even 2 hours at times isn't enough. And,
for sure.
I'll have to come by the store.
Yes, you're so close.
I know. Like I'm an hour away. I got to get over there.
And Jen, I want to thank you again for being part of our big broadcast. You are just charming, and I have learned a lot. And also, since you're on a military base, that gives me a chance to say hello to all my friends at the NSA. I want to let you know that we are still letting the world know about how important it is to end cannabis, and all the people there at Homeland Security. I want to say hello to a Special Agent Michael Hunt, and thank you for tuning in to us with your eavesdropping abilities. And it's important that they are listening in, because even if they are eavesdropping, one thing that they are learning is that we need to end cannabis prohibition, because all around the world, it really is time for hemp.
Look at all that money, yeah, the money that they've spent. Take another look and take some time for him. Don't cut trees for paper, 'cause it hurts the environment. Stop deforestation, yeah, it's time for hemp. Well, an acre of hemp makes 20 barrels of oil. No need for pesticides to poison all our soil. People got no food, they got no clothes, they got no rent. Well, it's time for hemp. Throughout Earth's history, hemp has been used, no mystery. Hemp was legal to pay your taxes for more than a century. Check your faxes. The founding fathers make sense to me. It's time to grow hemp legally. Think of all its uses. It's money that's well spent. Right now, no excuses. It's time for hemp. Sustainable green industry, that's our intent. A better place this world will be. It's time for hemp. Fuel and food and clothes and soap, housing, cars, yeah, cars, no joke. Henry Ford built a car of hemp. It's time for us to do it again. People be employed with balanced farming as it's meant. Right now, it's time for hemp. Hemp is a true necessity for the wealth and protection of this country. These are words of Jefferson Thomas. He grew hemp, why not us? It's time to lift the hemp ban. It's time to lift the hemp ban. Yes, we can. I know we can. We can make a difference. Yes, we can. Yes, I know we can. We can work together and lift the hemp ban. Look at all that money. Yeah, the money that they've spent. Take another look and take some time for you. Don't cut trees for paper, 'cause it hurts the environment. Stop deforestation. Yeah, it's time for hemp.